Okay, in this video we're just going to talk about the ARRI license key upgrade for the Panasonic GH6. And I just want to talk about why I sort of feel like this might be kind of quite a compelling upgrade and like the point of view that I have on it. So you can kind of see here we've got Panasonic releases or Panasonic licenses, the ARRI LogC3, and it says for the GH7, but it's also for the Panasonic GH6 as well, which will be coming at some point. I don't know a date on when it's coming, but it will be. They're releasing it as a software upgrade key, so a little bit like if you had one of the older Lumix cameras. We had ones like the GH5 where you'd buy your V-Log key for it. And there are keys that you can buy for the more modern cameras for certain different things. But, you know, it's that process. You buy the key, you have to install it on the camera, and, you know, it's just all done that way. It's a little bit tedious and a bit of an odd process, but, you know, that's sort of the way it works. You pay your money, get your key, and then you can get it all set up and installed. And you can see, you know, obviously the key function to this is matching it up to ARRI cameras, which I don't use, but my way of thinking of it is slightly different because I'm coming at it from the point of view of the GH6 as opposed to the GH7 in this regard. So you can kind of see on there, I mean, basically a real basic overview, they're basically offering another LUT, another log profile that can be used on the camera. So you've already got V-Log. V-Log's really good log profile. You know, there's plenty of options out there for grading V-Log fairly easily with you know, different LUTs and things available, and Panasonic have got their own, which we've covered in different videos, so I can link to that one, but this is sort of more about this. So you can see on here, you know, it says on there that it can be used with 10-bit recording in the creative video mode, and that's pretty much all the modes on the camera, aside for some of the MP4 modes. I think they all still sit in 8-bit. And then, you know, it's saying that you can convert it to your favorite look, and you can actually look through this library here, which I talked about in a previous video anyway, but, you know, you can go through the kind of library they've got and get a bit of an idea of, you know, what these look like. And it's there's obviously some really good looks in there because it's you know, it's a well-established library. There's nearly like 90 looks in there, so it says up there actually 87, so there's a lot sat in there. You can kind of see in here it says, in addition, ARRI LogC3 recording can be used on the Lumix GH6 in the same way as the GH7 by using the software upgrade key. And it's with the exemption of real-time LUT function, which isn't available on this model. And, you know, I've talked about this before. I feel like that's probably the final feature that the GH6 isn't going to get, which is a bit of a shame because I would have really liked to see that come in a firmware update. But, you know, they have to end somewhere. So I think that's probably where it kind of ends, really, in that functionality, unfortunately. And essentially my thoughts about this are basically, you've got with the GH6 you've essentially got the quite high base ISOs. So with ARRI LogC3 it uses a slightly lower ISO on the GH7 to the one that's used in V-Log. So I believe the difference is you can shoot at a base of 320 as opposed to 500, which is the V-Log base. But on the GH6, there's quite a big difference because our base for normal profiles, where it's, you know, standard, natural, all those kind of ones, they sit at 800, which is fairly high anyway for a base ISO. And then when you switch into V-Log, you're looking at using 2000, which is really high. I mean, I was on a shoot yesterday and it was predominantly indoors, and even then I found the base ISO was just too high at times in V-Log. And I know you can kind of compensate it by changing the aperture, but I don't really want the camera to dictate the shot that I'm getting just to get that additional dynamic range. And I know in the Panasonic G9 Mark II and also in the GH7 we've got that kind of improved DR boost implementation, which is a big deal. You know, it's a big upgrade over the GH6, and we've got those lower base ISOs. So you've got 100 for standard profiles, which, you know, perfect, and then 500 for Vlog, which is not really that high. That's, you know, that's perfectly acceptable. 500 is within, you know, workable limits. The trouble with 2000 is, you know, indoors, if I'm wanting to get a kind of more of a shallow depth of field, I'm having to use ND filters, and I feel like indoors I shouldn't really be having to do that. And, you know, I kind of find quite often they can compromise the image a little bit. So it's one of those things where I feel like if you're offered another log profile that's still going to give me an improved dynamic range of up to around a stop, and I can use it at a lower base ISO, then for me that's quite a compelling argument to get the upgrade key for a couple $100. And I know the workflow is going to be different for you know, for this log profile, like it's going to be different to Vlog, but I kind of feel like if it's going to make my life a little bit easier in the shooting phase of things, then it might actually be worth it. The thing is, I've not actually heard what those ISOs are going to be. I mean, they could be exactly the same. They could be lower. They could be significantly lower. I just sort of don't know at this point. But it's sort of on my radar as being interesting if, you know, those ISOs are significantly lower, or, you know, even marginally. I would be quite happy, to be honest. But I asked in the Lumix Live Q&A about the GH7, and there wasn't any sort of confirmed numbers on it yet. So I'll kind of be keeping an eye out on it. And, you know, I feel like it's, at least to me, it makes it interesting. So, yeah, let me know what you think about it in the comments.